Perception of certain stimuli has been shown to be a significant indicator of an individual's ability to form cognitively. Assessing perception skills, observing how individuals may respond to things they see, hear and touch, is therefore a basic part of assessing cognitive function. Children with possible developmental delay may be tested for their perception of visual, auditory and tactile stimuli, not just to understand their ability to see, hear and touch, but to understand how they perceive stimuli and what conclusions they make as a result. This kind of information can help occupational therapists evaluate the child's neurological functioning and psychological development. Measures the extent to which individuals can integrate their visual and motor abilities. It is commonly used to identify children who are having significant difficulty with visual motor integration and to determine the most appropriate course of action. The Beery Vmi is suitable for respondents with diverse environmental, educational and linguistic backgrounds. Additionally, the test can be used as an outcome measure to assess the effectiveness of education and intervention programs. The Beery Vmi helps assess the extent to which individuals can integrate their visual and motor abilities. The short format and full format tests present drawings of geometric forms arranged in order of increasing difficulty that the individual is asked to copy. The short format is often used with children aged 2 to 8 years. The Beery Vmi series also provides supplemental visual perception and motor coordination tests, which use the same stimulus forms as the short format and full format tests. These optional assessments are designed to be administered after results from the short or full format VMI test show the need for further testing, to help compare an individual's test results with relatively pure visual and motor performances. A statistical comparison of results from all three tests can be quickly and easily made on the graphic profile provided in the test booklets. The test is untimed but usually takes 10 to 15 minutes to administer. The visual motor integration subtest requires the subject to copy a series of developmentally staged geometric forms with paper and pencil. The visual perception subtest involves examining a series of pictures and finding the one that matches the example. The motor coordination subtest is made up of drawing lines through paths. The three subtests are displayed on three different coloured papers, with green being the visual motor integration test, blue being the visual perception test, and brown being the motor coordination test. The Beery Vmi is among the few psychological assessments that provide standard scores as low as 2 years. The Beery Vmi 6th edition manual provides approximately 600 age-specific norms from birth through to age 6. These consist of basic gross motor, fine motor, visual and visual fine motor developmental stepping stones that have been identified by research criteria. Many examiners find the age norm information to be useful in helping parents better understand their child's current level of development. The manual also presents teaching suggestions. The short and full format tests can be administered individually or to groups, although individual administration is recommended for the supplemental tests. The Beery Vmi can be used for both screening and diagnostic purposes. It is quickly and easily administered and requires just a pencil, a sheet of paper and a manual. It can and is used by both teachers and psychologists. It includes follow-up user-friendly teaching materials. It is bias-free, reliable and very well researched. Although it is not a free assessment, its initial costs are relatively low, but over time the consumable forms can be expensive. Clinicians use the Beery Vmi to help identify individuals who may require assistance and obtain services using evidence in the form of objective data from the results. They may also use it to test the effectiveness of educational and other interventions and to advance research. The Beery Vmi can be used by psychologists, learning disability specialists, school counsellors, teachers and other professionals. Visual motor integration. The VMI task evaluates integration of visual perception and motor skills as the examiner imitates and copies a developmentally sequential series of geometric forms using pencil and paper. Children below the functional age of 5 begin by imitating the examiner performing drawing tasks. The tasks then evolve into copying designs presented in the response booklet for a total of 30 items on the full form. A short form, consisting of the first 21 items from the full form, is available for use with children between the ages of 2 and 7. The examiner then provides basic instructions as outlined in the manual and observes the individual's drawings. Hi Abby, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. How was recess?
Yeah, it was good.
In our session today, do you mind if we do a few worksheets?
No, that's okay.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to get you to do is I want you to copy this line and put it down there for me. Fantastic. Can you copy this shape as well? And keep going, continue with the circle. Great. Alright, we're just going to do a few more sheets like that.
So here?
Yep, right there. Fantastic. Very good. Bet you haven't seen some of these shapes before. Let's do more. Great work. Great work, Abby. All finished. Visual perception. The visual perception task evaluates an individual's visual abilities without the integration of fine motor skills. Children below the functional age of 5 begin by pointing to various items, including body parts and pictures from the manual, to establish their ability to visually identify gross differences in objects. Older children and adults begin by being presented with an array of similar visual figures, one of which is a target. Examinees are to point to the item in the array that is identical to the target figure. Responses are recorded by the examiner, thus eliminating the need for fine motor control on the part of the examinee. Elapsed time is recorded beginning with item 7, with the task being discontinued after 3 minutes. Okay, Abby, for this next worksheet, I need you to help me pick the same shape. So let's have a look at this one. Which line do you think is the same?
That one?
It's not this one, is it?
No.
Okay, good job. What about this one here?
That one?
Great work. And what about the circle? Let's go from here. Very good. Last sheet. This one's a bit harder, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Great work.
That one. That one. I don't know that one.
Have a guess.
Maybe that one. I don't know that one either. Maybe that one. That one there.
Oh, finished. Good job. Motor coordination. The motor coordination task evaluates fine motor skills when not specifically integrated with visual perceptual abilities. The first three items can be scored based on prior observations by the clinician, including whether the individual has held the pencil with a thumb and at least one finger. If successful on these initial items, examinees are provided with 3 practice items to teach them to connect dots and draw within provided borders. Examinees are then instructed to continue with subsequent items within a 5-minute limit, beginning on item 7. Okay, Abby, this last worksheet is a fun drawing one. So I want you to copy what I do. So we're going to start on the black dot and go all the way down to the grey. Can you do the same there? Start from the black and go down to the grey. Fantastic. I'm going to do the same here, black to grey. Cool. Let's do our last one. This one's a bit trickier. And we're going to remember to stay in the lines. Go around like that. Fantastic. So these next ones you're going to do by yourself. So black to grey when you're ready. Great work. With this one you can lift your pencil up if you need to. Let's go on to these harder ones. Is that one all finished? These ones don't have dots in them, do they? So you can start wherever you like.
Inside the line.
Yep, that's exactly right. Good work. Work, last one. Great. Fantastic work, Abby. The first thing you need to do when scoring the Beery Vmi is work out the child's chronological age. Test date is 2013, the 8th month, and the 5th day. Abby's birth date is 2005, the 6th month, and the 4th day. In order to work out her chronological age, you subtract her date of birth from the date of the test. If you count more than 15 days, you add an additional month. For specific scoring criteria, please refer to the Beery Vmi Administration Scoring and Teaching Manual. When scoring the Visual Motor Integration Test, award 1 point for each correct answer. On pages 28 to 75 of the manual, scoring criteria is explained in more detail. When scoring the visual perception test, award 1 point for each correct answer. On page 83 of the manual, scoring criteria is explained in further detail. Remember to stop marking from when the 3-minute limit was exceeded. When scoring the motor coordination test, award 1 point for each correct answer. On pages 86 to 88 of the manual, scoring criteria is explained in further detail. Stop marking from when the child's 5-minute time limit is exceeded. To calculate standard scores, scaled scores and percentiles, refer to the Appendix B, C and D at the back of the manual. Pure scores are the basic score out of 30 we obtain from the tests. They are then converted to a number of normalised scores that enable comparisons of an individual's performance to those of a normative population. Standard scores are equal units of measurements with a mean of 100 and a standard deviation of 15. These can be treated mathematically, which is a great advantage when explaining scores to parents and teachers. They enable valid statistical comparisons between tests. Scaled scores have the same basic properties as standard scores but have a different mean and standard deviation, which makes them more general. Percentiles are useful for communication with many people because they are familiar. From Abby's results and scores, we were able to determine that she is below average for her age group in the visual motor integration and motor coordination areas. From this point on, we can develop specific interventions that focus on these areas.